Hey guys, Aaron from PhoneDog.com here. I'm hiding behind the camera. How's it going? Sup? And I'm here with the Google Nexus S or Samsung Nexus S, depending on what you want to call it. It's Google's second device. And this video, the purpose of this video is to focus solely on the improvements in Gingerbread or Android 2.3, which is what comes on the Google Nexus S. If you want to see the unboxing, be sure to check that out on PhoneDog.com or at YouTube.com/PhoneDog. This is just software related, so let's jump into it. Let's take a look at some of the improvements in Android 2.3. First of all, it's a whole new, change-wise, it's not huge. There aren't a huge number of differences between Android 2.2 and 2.3. It's a lot of minor things, most notably a new UI theme. It's been redesigned slightly, and you can see it across the board in small things from the notifications bar. You can see the T-Mobile colors, or the color behind T-Mobile, where it says new voicemail. Black down here, a darker gray, and then kind of white. So instead of that just bland gray background, there are some color changes on the notification bar, and you can see up there at the top where signal strength is, the data indicator, battery life indicator. You can see that's changed on Android 2.3 as well. 3G and green, or 3G and the signal strength indicator are green. Battery life is vertical versus horizontal. And the clock is missing the PM, the trademark PM that's found on Froyo, the smaller PM at least. On the bottom, the dock is pretty similar to a stock build of Android 2.2 with the exception of colors. The phone app, or the phone icon rather, the web icon are both colored. It's not a lot of changes as you can see in the app drawer. Pretty similar on that front. Very similar, if not the same, as Android 2.2 or Froyo. Where some of the real changes come in, let's take a look at messaging, for example, and you can see brand new Android keyboard. The keys are a little bit more square, a little bit less tall, and for me it's a trade-off. It's a 50-50 thing. I don't actually, and maybe this is just because I got the device today, I actually don't care for the keyboard when comparing it to the Android 2.2 and in past Android keyboards. For me, I like the taller, narrower keys, but you can see, actually that's pretty boring. Let's change that up. Let's go back to my favorite, the Quick Brown Fox. And for me, I had to enable vibrate in the settings because I just couldn't navigate very well without it. The Quick Brown Fox jumped over the Nexus S. So you can see I typed the wrong. It's YHR instead of the. Let's go over to it. We're going to select the word, and you can see the new thing here in Android 2.3. We can highlight. Go back here. Let's undo that. We can highlight, we can select a specific word, and we can expand as well. So you can use this multi-touch screen, so you can use both of those and expand out, and you can delete it all at once. So very cool on that front. So it's a nice keyboard all in all, and that's what it looks like in portrait mode. You can see in landscape mode. Here's what it looks like. It's a decent improvement. Maybe it's one of those things that will grow on me after 3 or 4 days of using the device. And again, really getting used to it. But for me, I prefer, at least right now, the older Android keyboard. Let's take a look at the widgets and the wallpapers. Out of the box, you get a couple of cool widgets. You get the Google Voice widgets pre-installed in this, obviously because it's a Google Experience device. But you get your typical power control, and I've installed a few apps, so you're seeing those in there. But the newest version of YouTube, widget for that. Power control, as I said. News and weather, which is something we saw on Android 2.2, or implemented on Android 2.2. Very cool. One of my favorite Google widgets. You can see up here I have the weather. I can click on it. I can see the 7-day forecast once it loads. Then I can scroll over and see my top stories, US, sports, entertainment, and more. So pretty cool on that front. So a couple new live wallpapers, or a couple new wallpapers, period. Let's jump into those. Live wallpapers, and you can see, the microbes is a new one. We'll take a look at that. New wallpaper there, and then the Nexus one, even though the name sounds the same, it's a slightly revised version of the Nexus that you remember from the Nexus 1. So a little bit different, slight change there. We'll set that as a wallpaper. Why not? I have the screen set to on. We'll kill the battery. We'll make it a fun thing. So I just have to point out while I'm thinking about it, there's this pretty cool, on the transitions front, a pretty cool transition when you power the device off. Instead of just turning off, it's almost like a little TV or HBO type thing. Click it, see how it turned off. Bam. So it kind of cuts down and then shuts off with that little white line. You can see there. So pretty cool on that front. A couple new programs. It's a stock Google device with a stock build of Android 2.3. So the program, on the program front, minus Google Earth, and a couple other Google programs, it's pretty much a stock build. You can see that tags pre-installed. The Nexus S supports NFC or near field communication, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. But there's that, and then there's the Downloads app as well, or the Downloads folder, where you can go in and see some of the things that you've downloaded, and you can sort those obviously by size. Now on the topic of that, you can see, and actually it works out well for this device because it's a Super AMOLED display. You can see that the menu at the bottom, manage apps, wallpaper, notifications, things like that, that menu is now black, and it carries across most of the all of the device. So when you go into the browser, you can see those are black as well. Now that works on two fronts. One, it's a aesthetic upgrade, or aesthetically pleasing, if you will. On the other hand, because this is a Super AMOLED display, dark colors conserve battery life. So you can see that long term, not going to make a huge difference, but that will conserve battery life. Even if it's a few minutes, who knows? You may need a few minutes to make a phone call, and that'll conserve it. Let's take a look at the tags here. And Google was nice enough to send over, special thanks to Google, by the way, for hooking us up with the Nexus S unit, but they were nice enough to send over a Google pamphlet here with a NFC chip on the inside. So when it gets close, you can see new tag collected, and it's pointing me to the YouTube site and to the browser. So we'll click on that. It'll load up in the browser. So pretty cool. Again, not something that's widely used in the United States, at least right now, within the next 3 to 5 years. As Google said when the device launched, they're trying to future-proof it, and NFC is just one way of moving towards that. You see a lot of aesthetic changes in Android 2.3 versus 2.2 or any of the past Android versions. You see, for example, when I scroll up and down in the settings, the little orange bar that appears at the top and kind of fades out into the black background, just to let me know I've reached the top and the bottom of the device. You see a lot of those across the board in 2.3. Let's go to messaging, for example. We'll click on how are you. You can see that the text is highlighted orange, and the corrections, or the potential corrections below that, are orange as well. It's kind of an orange and black color scheme going on in Android 2.3. A little bit of a change on that front. Before we sign off, let's take a look at the browser, just to, and this really isn't an Android 2.3 thing, but let's take a look at just some of the speed differences. See how the pinch to zoom works, and kind of a preview for the full review. We'll open up PhoneDog.com. My testing that I've done just today, pinch to zoom, there's a little bit of a lag, but not much. And overall, I've been pretty pleased with it. It's running Flash, obviously. And once the page loads, you can see the pinch to zoom is pretty fast, with maybe a little bit of lag, but not much. Double tap to zoom in. Whoops. Double tap to zoom in. Works just fine. And then pinch to zoom in and out on that front. And again, as I said before, all of the menus are black now instead of that kind of drab gray that was on Android 2.2 and past versions. Much more coverage to come of Android 2.3 or Gingerbread on PhoneDog.com, and much more coverage to come of the Google Nexus S or Samsung Nexus S on PhoneDog.com as well. We'll have reviews, written reviews, and I'm sure a dogfight in there somewhere, so be sure to keep it locked on the site. Also be sure to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're giving away up to 100 iPads, and you can pick between an iPad, a BlackBerry Playbook, or a Galaxy Tab. So you have a choice on which tablet you want if you're the winner. Very cool, and it's one of several sweepstakes we're doing on Facebook in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months, so be sure to like us. Facebook.com/PhoneDog, and follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, with any questions you have about the Nexus S or any other device that I'm reviewing. Thanks for watching. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage. See you next time.